just happened to have a need to run some errands real quick. But anyhow, I want to talk about what's happening on the western seaboard. There's an incident that happened in Las Vegas, and there's an incident that happened in California. Both incidents involve an act of terrorism. This all happened in the last 7 days. Let's discuss what the hell's going on. Let's discuss possible responses from private security. The first attack happened in Las Vegas. It happened in a gym. And what you basically have is you have an active attack incident. You have an active shooter in there. And there was one person that lost his life. There might be another one. And 5, I believe, were critically injured. You have Las Vegas Metro officer arriving on scene. And he eliminates that suspect from the gene pool. If you're that Las Vegas Metro officer, you did a wonderful job. That work that you did is an excellent reflection of your own work, and whoever trained this officer deserves kudos as well. Good job. Keep up the excellent work. The gym is so significant because, let's face it, Las Vegas is one of those states where you can get a concealed weapon permit, and people often carry, but in a gym it's a little bit different, right? It's a little bit more difficult to conceal your weapon inside of a gym because you're over there wearing maybe gym shorts, gym pants. Guys, you can still conceal in the gym. I haven't been in a gym in over 20 something years. I exercise on my own at my house, but when I went to the gym, I would carry a snub nose 357 Smith & Wesson 340 PD. I would put it in a pocket where I'm able to zipper it, right? And I did all my weightlifting, I even did pull-ups with it on. I mean, that thing was so light. Yes, at that point in time of my life, I did have a CCW, and I know some of you are saying, well, I don't have one. I'm in a state where it's difficult. Hey, what's up, Doug? Welcome to our county. Welcome. Hopefully you're gonna have a good week over here. If you can't carry a handgun, carry a knife, some type of edge weapon. Okay, you never know what happens in these gyms. There's some weird people that enter them, and over here it's just really unfortunate in Las Vegas that you have this person who's armed, acting against people who are probably unarmed. And what eliminated the threat was a Las Vegas Metro officer that just happened to be there on scene, and that he knows what he's doing. He's proficient with his weapon system. I think that's what possibly stopped the threat. I don't think it was an armed citizen that stopped the threat. Now, going to Las Vegas, coming back from Las Vegas, Palm Springs area, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. You had an active attack situation. You had I'd say a suicide bomber blow up the fertility clinic. Now, it's pretty common for there to be attacks or threats on abortion clinics, but for fertility clinics, it's just nothing I heard of lately. Basically, this guy runs into the clinic using a vehicle that's compacted with an IED in there, VIED, and blows it up. He's the only one that lost his life, and I believe there was like 5 or 6 others that were in the vicinity that were injured pretty bad or that required medical attention. What is going on? Okay, I think that we don't need to get lax anymore. What I've seen in private security and law enforcement is nothing happens for a long time. We stop going to trainings. We stop becoming laxed. We stop going to the firing range. We stop practicing. We stop training because, let's face it, nothing's happening. But then when something happens like this, that's when a training organization like the one I got, that's when we start getting phone calls. We start getting emails for inquiries, right? But it almost always only happens when there's an active attack situation. That's a time, like days after, weeks after, maybe a month. That's when people start reaching out. You ought to not be reaching out right after these incidents. You got to train now. You got to train today. I do want to make it pretty clear that you should train more on de-escalation. You should train more on weaponless defensive tactics. Maybe jiu-jitsu, maybe Krav Maga, some type of martial art. I think that's way more important right now than training to address an active attack situation. But you have to establish active shooter training, anti-terrorist training into your curriculum. So guys, you got to go out there and please train and be ready. And I want you guys to start learning what the pre-attack indicators are. If you're working at these facilities, you have to be in connection, you have to be in contact with management. I work in law enforcement, and we have a mental health clinic, a large facility. We do have a guard at the sign of the property who's a contractor, and sometimes the police will get there and they'll ask the guard, hey, what's going on? And the guard, he doesn't even know what's going on. And then you talk to the counselor. The counselor's like, hey, we had this guy check in for mental health evaluation, and he's claiming that in an hour or so he's gonna take out everybody at the clinic and take out his family members. Oh, okay. Thank you for the information. Why did you not share that information with the security guard who's paid to protect you guys? Oh, well, we don't want to violate HIPAA. You don't want to violate HIPAA. So first off, lady, you are a dumbass. That's not protected healthcare client information. In fact, I think you have a duty of care to tell these people that their life is in danger. And guys, we're talking about healthcare professionals that have all these certifications, have all these degrees that we don't. It just doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. If you run a security company, you have to be actively involved with communicating with the client. And let's just say for some reason you don't want your guard to be informed. Okay, well, at least let their management contact your management and you guys have these conversations. But I think that the guard who's protecting the property should have this information. And that's what I'm talking about. We got to train more. We got to train more. In training, you learn to communicate. What are some other pre-attack indicators? Well, surveillance, right? You know, these people driving back and forth, video recording, maybe on their cell phone, the property for no reason. And yes, you have the First Amendment auditors, right? But there's a huge difference, guys. The huge difference is the First Amendment auditor, they want the confrontation. They want security or law enforcement to approach them and tell them to leave the property. And then they know, a lot of them, 1/3 of them know their rights. They know that they can't be removed in many circumstances from government property. Private property is a different story. They know their rights, right? But they're looking for a confrontation. Whereas you have the actual terrorist, you actually have the terrorist who is avoiding all types of conflict until it's the day of the operation. And that's what you're usually having. The terrorist isn't going to be the one that's going to go want to be contacted and then film the whole encounter on video. No, those are your, quote, First Amendment auditors, okay? And we need some training, guys. I mean, this is kind of, in a way, training, watching this video. You guys got to talk to your people. What are some other pre-attack indicators? Establish a baseline for your property. Establish what is normal. And identify any type of anomaly. And watch that situation. Watch that threat and be ready. Now, this kind of concludes our conversation, unless you guys have other questions. A lot of people have been reaching out to me, usually once or twice a month. Hey, Sean, can you come to our security organization? Can you and your guys do an active an active shooter training event, like for 1 or 2 days. Let me address that real quick. The whole purpose of this video, by the way, is not to sell any type of training, but the thing is, this is the easiest way to explain what is being offered. And if you have your own security training company, I recommend maybe you offer something similar to what we're doing, right? But anyhow, it's 2 days mandatory. There's no 1 day course. It's 2 days. And the cost, it's a baseline of $2,000. So it's $500 per student. We also add in that if there's like a fifth student, that's an extra, any additional students, an extra $500. And anytime we go over 5 students, you have to hire an additional instructor. And what that would entail is, for both instructors, you have to pay the travel, all the travel fees. So I'm in Imperial County. A bunch of my guys are in San Diego County. Wherever you are, we charge $50 an hour to travel, plus 70 cents of IRS miles, and it's round trip. That's really it, guys. And it's 2 days, so you're gonna have to pay for lodging for 2 days. If it's anywhere north of Los Angeles, like north of downtown Los Angeles, then that would involve lodging. You're gonna have to pay for lodging, and most hotels cost anywhere between $150 a night to $200 a night. But that's more or less a setup. An organization that's based out of, well, let's just say Santa Monica, right? If you're a security company that's based out of Santa Monica, you need a minimum of 4 guards. That would cost you, oh my goodness, what was the fees? I think it was like $4,000 or something like that. Jeez. I think it was $4,000 for one instructor. I have the setup on my website, crimebullet.com, if you want to know the fee breakdown. So let's just say you're in Sacramento, it's going to cost you more. Let's just say you're in Lancaster, California, it's going to cost you more. I think the Lancaster guys, I think we're charging them close to $8,000 just because of the number of students, which is only like 6. But then that kind of doubles down on the lodging rate and everything else. I don't want to be more specific on the structure, but that's it, guys. And you're getting trained professionals to actually train you well. There's a guy out there, and I don't mean to put anybody down. There's a bunch of guys out there that take an online active shooter instructor class. You can take a class like this possibly for free, a 4-hour class, and offer this training, right? But you have these instructors that have no live fire skills, no live fire abilities, and they're offering this active shooter training, which is ridiculous. They're not qualified to offer this type of training at all. On my videos, I often tag our partners, CWPS, Citywide Protective Services. I do live fire drills, demos on camera, and I upload it. For example, I'm going to upload one where I'm launching a 40 mic, and we're trying to establish a drill where you fire once. I'm sorry, on the command of go, you yell out less lethal, you fire once, 10 yards away in a small, I think it's like a 6 or 8 inch steel target. You pull out the cartridge, you put another 40 mic in there, and you hit it again. The average instructor level time right now is about 15 seconds. I did it in 10 seconds, and it's on video. I often show a bunch of demos that our guy, Randy Nunez, SOF dude from San Diego. He's one of our CWPS partners. He does a lot of demos. I upload them. If you feel the demos are incorrect, they're dumb, they're stupid, don't sign up for, don't allow CWPS to train you. Don't allow us to train you. Find somebody better. But I assure you, all these people out here, guys, that are offering this phony active shooter training, they're not doing any demos. They're not doing any filming because they're scared that they're going to get criticized, right? I was training with Direct Action Group, and I got to give it to them, right? DAG, I took their 4-day CQB class, and I really have to give them credit on this. You know, there's been some criticism in the tactical community on some of the techniques. But believe it or not, they actually allowed us to film. They allowed us to film, not even knowing where some of these drills are going to be featured on. So in that regard, I'm going to give them a lot of credit. But a lot of these training organizations will not allow anybody to film them. They won't upload their content because they're scared of criticism, right? So anyhow, I have the fee breakdown, how much this all costs. Whenever you need to hire a second instructor, which involves when you're going over the 5-to-1 ratio, that means for every 5 students, there should be 1 instructor. You're gonna have to pay for another instructor, which gets rather costly. So email us. We love to work with teams. Now, unfortunately, you can't do any individual officer training. However, if you know another security officer at another organization, and then that person knows somebody else, we can create something where you host the venue and you already have your minimum of 4. Now, we prefer to work with teams that are established already, they've been working a while in the security industry, but that's also okay. And you can also add in. And I don't think it's a bad idea that if you're running a security company in the city of, I don't know, Santee, right? And then you connect with another security company out of El Cajon. Now, I know that there's obviously competition, but just imagine you guys train together in active shooter drills, and just imagine when something happens, and it's a matter of when. When it happens, you're going to be prepared. Because I'll tell you this, the most scariest situation for an active attacker is the 2-man team, the 2-operator team. There's so much hell and back that can be put into place that can really pin that person down. For example, the North Hollywood shooting, you got over 100 officers versus 2 guys with full auto AK-47s that are not scared to die. Do you know how much chaos that team of 2 created in that 45-minute standoff? And guys, they even pinned down the most elite SWAT team out there, LAPD Metro, LAPD D Platoon, SWAT, the most elite. They were also pinned down in that North Hollywood shooting in 1997. That's a team of 2. I know some instructors out there that when you team them up with one of their other battle buddies, they could pin down multiple police departments. Multiple police departments, guys. That's what I'm saying is the 2-man team can be so aggressive and at the same time be so efficient, but you guys got to be ready. The Palm Springs attacker, he had 2 AK-47s on him, guys. That guy, if he wanted to, if he wanted to end the situation in a gun battle, he could have taken the lives of so many Palm Springs PD officers that were not trained. However, when you put 2 of those patrol officers together, that creates a 2-man operator team, and all hell will be broken loose in that gunfight situation. So give me a call, guys, if you want to set something up. And look, I know it's super pricey. It's super pricey, but I think a good training is worth it. Doug says, greetings from El Centro. Mike, hold on. Randy says, Doug, you in El Centro. Yeah, no, Doug is in El Centro today. Doug actually got a nice job. He got a nice job where he travels across the state. And I don't want to disclose too much. I actually met Doug in person. I had lunch with him. He bought me lunch. Mirage 2087's here. Welcome, sir. Ryan from the University Security Training Solutions channel, one of our cool YouTube partners. He says, workout pre-shift helps. Yeah, that's how you manage your anger. Randy says, does DAG let you bring new knee pads? I should have known, man, because I really, I think, banged up my knee too fast. University Security Training Solutions channel says, we expect the threat to be 1. What happens when it's 4 to 8 man jump out crew? Yeah, exactly. And then, guys, be aware of secondary attacks. It's very common in other countries and even over here for a secondary IED attack. In Palm Springs, honestly, I don't know what the hell this guy was thinking, but it looked like he blew himself up. He blew up his vehicle, and then he had AK-47s. What's to say that he made a mistake, right? He made a miscalculation error, and his plan was to blow up the Palm Springs clinic and then lie in wait while first responders from everywhere. You're talking about Desert Hot Springs Police, San Bernardino Sheriff's Department responded, Riverside Sheriff's Department. Everybody and their grandmother and grandfather responded on that day. What's to say that he wasn't lying in wait for an ambush? And also, what's to say that there wasn't going to be a secondary attack at Desert Regional, which is located also in Palm Springs? I mean, where are all these injured people going to be triaged at, right? Where are they going to be transported to? Well, they're going to be transported to Desert Regional. Do you have a SWAT team on standby, or an SRT team, or a highly trained team on standby over there? Do you have your DMRs, your designated marksman, riflemen, ready to go on the rooftop at Desert Regional? Do you have a plan in place? I don't know, and that's a question I'm asking you guys. And then what's another place where we could transport the injured? I would think maybe, oh man, maybe from the distance, would it be UCSD, or is there a closer hospital? I don't know. Maybe there's one in Redlands. Maybe there's Riverside Community Hospital. I don't know. But you guys that work at these hospitals, are you prepared for a secondary attack? Because first, you weren't prepared for the first attack because it wouldn't have occurred. Are you prepared for a secondary attack? Those of you who are marching back and forth at your post, you're sitting in the ER lobby, you're checking in visitors, you're prepared for the secondary attack? And I don't think that you are. I don't think that you are. All right, guys. So that's all I got. If you're looking forward to getting some quality training, let us know. All right. I'll post my website in the description box. Take care, guys.